Psalm 16, a song of trust and security in God. Protect me, O God, for in you I take refuge. I say to the Lord, you are my Lord. I have no good apart from you. As for the holy ones in the land, they are the noble ones in whom is all my delight. Those who choose another God multiply their sorrows. Their drink offerings of blood I will not pour out, or take their names upon my lips. The Lord is my chosen portion and my cup. You hold my lot. The boundary lines have fallen for me in pleasant places. I have a goodly heritage. I bless the Lord who gives me counsel. In the night also, my heart instructs me. I keep the Lord always before me. Because he is at my right hand, I shall not be moved. Therefore, my heart is glad and my soul rejoices. My body also rests secure. For you do not give me up to Sheol, or let your faithful one see the pit. You show me the path of life. In your presence there is fullness of joy. In your right hand are pleasures forevermore. Thanks be to God.
Good morning, Metro. I am so happy to spend my sabbatical with you. I'm so glad. And you know, being on sabbatical, I knew that is all about learning again. Learning again to be in a different place with a different community, in a different city, a huge city. Being in another status, not really being a pastor, not really preaching, and when preaching in a language that you don't really master. It's all about learning. I thought my sabbatical would be all about learning, but I never thought it would be about learning to leave behind so many things and to become a refugee again. For in thee I seek refuge, God. I was thinking about looking for a place to go to a lot in the past weeks. When I was riding my bike down that beautiful bike lane on Hudson River from the Upper West Side down here, one night I looked at the moon and I thought, wouldn't it be nicer to be up there? In space, without boundaries, on a starship, on an Endeavor 5 years mission, a 5 years mission with the Enterprise. Space, the final frontier. Wouldn't you come along? Oh, maybe my fantasy was sparked by seeing George Takei this week with Alan in that show. And of course, my daydreaming of being somewhere else up above, looking down on this country in turmoil, special situation at least, all these boundaries and problems. Maybe that would have been nice, but it's very much connected to what is actually happening here. It is the perfect counterpart to what's happening here. And my daydreaming is very much connected to the situation. Oh no, I'm not going to tell you that daydreaming is a bad thing, and the psalm that you just heard is not telling that at all. I'm not going to tell that to Broadway experienced people. Daydreaming, fantasy, stories, That is beautiful. And the psalm saying that you should seek your refuge in God and not in other gods, in the one God, is not about forbidding you to seek refuge or little refuges in your daydreams. It is about something much more mysterious. And actually, the term for that is mentioned right at the top of the psalm. The psalm is called, in Hebrew, a miktam le-David, a miktam of David. And what is a miktam? It is a special genre of poem. It is a mystery poem. A mystery poem. And if this is a mystery poem for David, it might be a mystery poem for us, because you know all about David. You've heard about him in the weeks before. David, King David? Yes, King David, but the baffled King David, the baffled king. Starting out as the most unlikely next ruler, youngest of his family, tender boy, musician, arts guy. Becoming the most unlikely hero against the giant, Goliath. Then the next being the most unlikely person to be persecuted by his predecessor Saul, and finally, king, to become the most unlikely sinner with Bathsheba and the killing of Uriah. A very, very unlikely to happen life story, which is so much our life story, isn't it? So if this is a mystery poem for that David, it might be a mystery poem for each and every one of us, and it might have something to say about how to seek refuge wherever we are. And this prayer is not about keeping your eyes down here below. You might look at the moon, but it is about facing the reality we see, the people we are spending our time with, assuring ourselves of our path, because we're always walking, we're always moving towards somewhere, and that all despite being in a very difficult situation, a very exceptional one. Protect me, O God, for in you I take refuge. And I think the kind of refuge we're guided here towards is giving us the basis to learn to become a refugee again. It is a message reassuring, comforting, and challenging at the same time. Can you imagine what it is to be a refugee? Maybe not. Maybe not. This week I met young refugees here at the RCC program, juvenile status seekers, below 21, maybe 17, maybe 18. Sometimes we don't really know what they've been through. Some of them traveled all around different countries just to make it to Colombia, and then to walk from Colombia to the United States on foot. Can you imagine starting off like they do again? I can't. But I'm trying to learn that. Because what their feeling was, I want to be in a different place. I want to get there because where I am and how things are cannot stay forever like this. It's not possible to live through that. So they start moving. And now, the mysterious poem tells us we're about to seek refuge in God, and at the same time, we should be happy with our boundaries. I'm so glad that I have these boundaries. I am glad my boundary lines have fallen for me in pleasant places. So, what is the mysterious poem telling us? Shall we move abroad to another place? Or shall we just be happy where we are? It's kind of paradoxic, tenuous. Well, maybe turn that around a little bit and try to find where it pulls you when you look at the spaces where you are in. How on earth is that going to work? Maybe a way to put it would be to learn to be friends again as refugees are experts, absolute experts in being friends with the situations they live through. How can you make that travel from Colombia on foot without a valid passport to the US without being friends with the situation you are in on each day? How can you do that? I think one way for us non-refugees with legal passports, but also for the ones of us who have that experience somewhere in their life, it might actually be helpful to talk to actual refugees, to come here to our RCP program, to speak with the ones that are here after the service, and to listen to how they managed to do that traveling, how they managed to keep up hope when the situation was so grim and when they were endangered. And also to just learn from their attitude. I know that many people with migration experience in their life are traumatized, have big psychological issues, and maybe sometimes they cannot really act friendly in a situation because they shut down and are afraid. But most of the time, and most refugees that I've met are amongst the friendliest people that I know. And that's very logic. It has some logic in it. Because they were always looking for help. They had to learn to accept help because they didn't have anything when they came here. On their way, they had to accept food every day. They had to accept help to get further, to show them the way. They really know how to be friends with a situation and with people. And maybe when we spend some time with refugees, we can also learn to be more friendly with the person or the exact boundaries that we are in. We need to become more friendly with who we are. The mystery poem tells us our boundaries have fallen on good places, on nice, pleasant places. So also our body boundaries. You cannot be a good refugee if you don't really be friendly with yourself. And that helps you through a lot. I think being a friend doesn't mean you like everything about yourself. Like when you have a good friend, I have a couple of good friends. I don't like everything about them, but I love them anyway. So when you befriend yourself, it doesn't mean that there's always some things to improve, right? But you love yourself. You befriend yourself. You are in line with the boundaries that you just find yourself in. And what will be about you, what will come in the future, I think that's also something you could learn from refugees, to become friends with the unknown. This mysterious poem is all about becoming friends with the big unknown, which is the future. It actually locates God. If you want to know where God is, the location of God in this poem is in front of me. I keep the Lord in front of me as I move on. Not in my back, not above me, not below me, in front of me. He's coming towards me where I walk, like the direction I walk to. So God is in the unknown. Can we really deal with the unknown? The unknown of what happens after January 6th? Usually we are afraid of the unknown, right? Maybe there are some things to be afraid of, but we actually don't know. The unknown holds all the possibilities of what might be. It holds all the possibilities of what we might do. And the unknown is the gateway to the others. Because no thing that exists is so well distributed as the unknown. Nobody knows the future. It is the perfect communist thing. Everybody has it, the unknown. So this means we are called to community. We are called to each other. We are never alone when we ask what the future will bring and what we can do. Que será, será. Yes. And it will be something we experience as a community and something you can experience here at Metro. I'm not really a person who knows a lot about Buddhism. So when I'm at Union and they have lots of interreligious programs, I went to a class of a Buddhist professor. I don't want to make the argument that Buddhists know more about the future and the unknown as Christians. Actually, what the professor said was a pretty Christian thing. He made this point. All major societal changes in history, he said, and he was like the Reformation, the Enlightenment, civil rights movement, and so forth, all major changes started out with a group of more or less 12 good friends. Well, we're a little bit more today, but if we want to deal with that unknown, and we're here together, and we're willing to give up some things and to move forward into the unknown together, there might actually be changes happening here that will spread on throughout the city, and they already are. Okay, that might start here at Metro Baptist Church, and I think you already have a feeling of where to go. I mean, George Takei knows. George Takei, who's been in the imaginary of so many Trekkies in a perfect world up there in space, traveling galaxies up there. He's actually a gay rights activist here in this neighborhood. He knows that the big dreams, the earth below us, and the friends around us are belonging to each other mysteriously. And if we keep that God in front of us, we can move forward together into that unknown. Amen?